Well, good afternoon. This is David Raymond. I'm the director of the Cyber Range, and this is our weekly workshop. So just a quick reminder about weekly workshops. These are Tuesday afternoons at 4 p.m. and recorded workshops. Try to keep them short, 20 to 30 minutes. And we will do workshops across various cybersecurity topic areas over the coming weeks and months. And we're starting with Capture the Flag. We're primarily starting with Capture the Flag due to some recent survey comments from the fall Cyber Range survey, where we asked teachers about Capture the Flag and their usage and what they wanted to learn more about. And based on that survey feedback, we have Capture the Flag queued up as one of the first topics for our weekly workshops. So last week, we did a high-level introduction to Capture the Flag and what it's all about, why we like to do Capture the Flag competitions. And then I spent some time showing how to create a CTF in the Cyber Range, right? So how to use your Cyber Range instructor account to create a Cloud CTF platform in your classroom. And then I showed how students access the CTF, how instructors access the CTF. I showed the various administrator functions. I showed some KB articles, knowledge base articles on how to use the Cloud CTF platform. And today we're going to talk about CTF challenge management. And I think we can get through challenge management today. I'm going to try to do that. And then next week, I'll probably dive into just some general CTF challenge solving tips. If I don't get through all the challenge management stuff today, maybe I'll carry this on to next time. But I anticipate getting through this challenge management stuff today, and then moving on next time. All right, so here's the agenda: CTF challenge management. I'm going to talk about adding and removing challenges to a Cloud CTF instance. I'm going to talk about how to create challenges from scratch, right? So you as an instructor can create your own challenges. And those can be either flag-based or they can be multiple choice challenges. I'll show you how to edit an existing challenge, and I will talk about the challenge library and how you promote challenges into the challenge library and why you might want to do that. And then I will show you where to get help for CTF challenge management. So that's today. And I'm going to go straight to the Virginia Cyber Range. Of course, the US Cyber Range interface looks very similar. You should see most of the same things I'm going to show here. I'm going to go right to the exercise area. I'm already logged in as an instructor. And I'm going to go to my weekly workshop course. I have lots of courses going on for different outreach events and CTFs and other stuff that we do here at the Cyber Range. So here's the course that I brought up last weekly workshop. And last time, if you recall, I showed how to provision this Cloud CTF instance. And so I'm going to join that instance here. That workshop from last week is in our YouTube channel. So if you didn't get last week and you want to see how to create a CTF and how to manage it, then you can go to YouTube and go to the Virginia Cyber Range channel and see the recorded workshop from last week. And I'm just going to quickly review the admin menu up at the top here. This is where you change your various CTF settings, and so let me talk about managing. Let me talk about challenge management. So when I provisioned this CTF, it came with a default set of challenges, and so this is what everyone gets when they provision a new CTF instance. And these challenges are so they're sort of introductory to intermediate, right? So this would be appropriate, I think, to provision into like a high school class, a high school cybersecurity class, maybe where you've already spent some time introducing some of these various concepts like cryptography and networking and reconnaissance and et cetera. And the students would be able to come in here and start solving some of these. However, you might want to obviously create your own challenges, right? You might want to add a challenge to this CTF instance. You might want to remove some of the challenges, and you might want to put in some harder stuff for more advanced students or some easier stuff for more entry-level students. And so first I'll show that I can click into any one of these challenges. So let's say you're not a fan of the trivia challenges, right? So this Ready Player set of challenges is just some trivia about a book called Ready Player One. It's a fictional sci-fi story from a few years ago. And when I create CTFs particularly for high school students, I like to throw in, especially if you don't know who, the experience level of the high school kids. Some of them might have some cybersecurity experience. They might be able to dive right into the crypto challenges. Some students that are getting introduced to CTF may know nothing about CTFs at all. They might not really have any cybersecurity experience, but they know some trivia, right? So you can point them to a trivia category. They can do some Googling and solve some trivia challenges. But maybe you don't want this thing in your high school classroom CTF. So what I can do in here is I can select any one of these challenges. So I just clicked on the challenge 5 here, and I want to delete this challenge. How do I get this challenge out of my CTF? So one way to do it is I click on the edit button. As the instructor, I have that little pencil icon in the lower left-hand corner of the challenge dialog box. I can edit any challenge I want, and maybe I want to delete that challenge. So if I click delete, I get a pop-up that asks me if I'm sure I want to delete this CTF challenge, and I'm going to check the box here that says I understand that this action is unrecoverable. I'm going to confirm, and now that challenge disappears. It disappears for me, disappears for all the students. I can also disable a challenge, right? So maybe I'm not sure if I want that challenge to show up for the students or not, or maybe initially I don't want it to be there, but later on I'm going to want to have the students interact with that thing. So here's how I disable a challenge without deleting it. I can click on the challenge. So I'll click on 3 here. And I will again click on the edit button. And if you look on the left side here, I'm going to talk more about these menu items in a bit, but on the left side here, there's an advanced settings. It's a little gear icon on the left side menu. And there's a checkbox that says enabled. If I uncheck that box, and then I confirm, what I'll see is that I see the little eyeball with a line through it. That challenge is now disabled. Now, if a student logs into this CTF, they wouldn't see this challenge here at all. They would just see the 1 challenge, the 2 challenge, and the 4 challenge. For me, as the instructor, as the administrator in this CTF, I still see that challenge because I may want to enable it later. And the way I enable it is I just do those same steps I just did, right? I click on the challenge, I click edit, I click on the gear icon to get the advanced settings, and then I check the box next to enabled, and then that challenge will show up again for the students. So that's how I delete or hide individual challenges. Another way to delete challenges is if I go to the admins tab up at the top here, and I click on the challenges menu item under the admin menu, right? So I'm on the challenges list, and here I see all the challenges in the CTF. This is helpful for a lot of reasons. I can group challenges by category, so I can see all the crypto challenges here, for example, and I can look through the list of challenges. Once you've actually executed the CTF, or if you have players playing a CTF right now, you can see how many people have solved each one of your challenges, right? Of course, this CTF hasn't been used by anybody, so there are no solves, but this is interesting to see, which challenges are particularly difficult for certain students, and which challenges are easier to solve. And then, of course, the failed attempts is interesting also, because if somebody has, if you have a challenge that has 50 failed attempts and 0 successful attempts, that tells you that maybe there's something wrong with the challenge that you need to go in and look at. Anyway, what I'm really talking about here is deleting challenges, right? So let's say I want to delete the rest of that Ready Player category. So the way to do that is I'm going to filter, I'm going to sort by category. So you see I have crypto challenges, then networking challenges. Down in the right-hand corner here, I can change how many challenges I see on a page. And I usually just click on all so I can see all the challenges on the page. So here's those ready player challenges. And I want to get rid of the rest of them. Here's how I do it. I select the challenges. I select the checkboxes over here on the very left side of the window for the challenges that I want to remove. And I selected these ready player challenges. And then I go up to the top and I click the trash can. And then I get this window again. Are you sure you want to delete 4 challenges? I click the checkbox next to I understand that this action is unrecoverable. I click confirm. And now those 4 challenges are gone. Well, they're not gone quite yet, right? That's the back end is deleting those 4 challenges. This is just a handy way so you don't have to click into each individual challenge. We in certain places on the CTF interface, we have some bulk actions that you can take. This is one of those places. So now if I look at my list of challenges, those ready player challenges are gone. And if I look at the challenge tab at the top here, there's not even a category anymore. So once you have 0 challenges in a particular category, that category is removed from my category list on the top here. If you want to delete all of the challenges in the CTF, again, I go back to the admin menu and then the challenges submenu. And I'm gonna look at all the challenges. So here's everything, right? If I want to just completely clean out this CTF, I can click each one of these individually, or I can just click the checkbox at the very top of the column. Now these are all checked. Okay, now I can click the trash can button and I get this same pop-up menu. Are you sure you want to delete 31 challenges? If I click confirm, those are all going to be deleted. Now I'll have a challenge. Now I'll have a CTF with 0 challenges in it. I'm not going to do that, but that's what you could do if you wanted to. All right, so that's adding and removing challenges. Okay, now I'm going to add a new challenge to my CTF. There are a couple of different places I can do that on the CTF. If I'm on the main challenge page here, so on the top menu, if I'm on the challenges menu item, I can add a challenge from here. Or if I'm on the admin's challenges page, I can add a challenge from here. You can do it from either spot, really doesn't matter. I'm going to go out to the challenge. This is where I usually do it. I'm going to go out to the challenges page. I click add a challenge. And first thing I'll talk about is adding a challenge from the library. So we have a pretty extensive library of CTF challenges that we've created over the years. And then I have my own library that's included in this list. So I probably see more than you see right now when I look at the challenge, when I look at the library. But the behavior is the same, right? When you click on the library, when you click add a challenge from the library, you see this library of challenges and you can filter based on category. So maybe I just want to see networking challenges. And I can select any one of those challenges. And if I click next, here's the challenge, right? It's called Where's Waldo 1. There's a description, there's a point value, here's the answer, right? Here's the flag. There's an artifact, which looks like a link to something. There's some advanced settings, that's where the category is set. And there might be some tags on a challenge, and there might be some notes on the challenge with the solution. So if I'm happy with this challenge, I click confirm. And now on my networking tab, here's this new thing that showed up, right? Where's Waldo 1? And if I click on it, now I can interact with it. or I can go in and modify it. Okay, so that's how I add a challenge from the challenge library. I can also add multiple challenges. Like if I want to add several networking challenges, I can go in here and I can select multiple networking challenges. And it's going to ask me if I'm sure that I want to create 4 challenges. I'm going to confirm. And now it's going to take a few seconds to create those 4 challenges. And the page is going to refresh. And there they are, right? They all got added. Now, they're not all across the bottom here, right? Because they get added in order of their point values. So these challenges are always listed in order from lowest point value in the upper left-hand corner to highest point value in the lower right-hand corner. So that's how I add challenges from the library. Another thing I can do is I can create my own challenges just from scratch, right? Nothing. Here's an empty dialog box. I click the plus button here up the right-hand corner to add a challenge. I select add a challenge from scratch, and now I'm going to create one from nothing. So here's how I do it. I need to name the challenge. Let's name the challenge CIA. And here's the description. This is the message that the student gets when they select the challenge. And so this description is, what does the A stand for in the CIA triad? What's the A stand for in the CIA triad? Let's see if I can spell today. There we go. Okay. And this I think is a pretty easy challenge. I'm going to give it 5 points. The points are up to you, right? The range of points is whatever you think is appropriate. Super easy challenges are I usually start out with 5 points or maybe even 2 or 3 points. The hardest challenges that we use in the cyber range for like college students doing capture the flag competitions are usually up. The hardest ones are up in the 180 to 200 point level. And then there's a whole range in between those two ends, right? So I gave it 5 points. Okay, now I need to put in an answer to my CIA triad question. There's 2 different ways I can do this. I can add a flag as something that the student has to enter, right? So I can put in what I think the answer should be, and I think the answer should be availability. Okay, and there's no red squiggly, so I must spell it right. I think the right answer is availability, and that's a string. That's a string flag. Okay. Now I'm going to go to advanced settings here. I'm going to put in a category, and let's say this doesn't fit any of the existing categories. I'm going to put in as the category cyber trivia. And that category doesn't exist here. That's okay. I'm creating a new category called cyber trivia. I can set the number of attempts on the challenge. And so usually we leave this number of attempts as the default, right? 100 attempts. That's most string or regular expression CTF challenges, I just leave in the default. Sometimes you want to reduce that default, especially if you don't want the student to be able to brute force the solutions, right? So for, if it's like a math problem and they could easily brute force by trying a whole bunch of different numbers, then, then I would reduce this down to maybe 3 attempts. And the student can see when they go in to solve the challenge, they can see how many attempts they have left. Okay, then I can add tags to it. I might want to tag this as a beginner challenge. And the tagging is useful when you search your library, right? So when you have challenges in your library, you can search for tags or for words that are in the challenge. And so tagging challenges is a good thing. And then if this was at all complicated, I can provide some additional notes, or I can provide the solution to the challenge. The only people who can see these notes or the solution are other instructors who might use your challenge later on, only if you make it available beyond your personal library. Okay, so I just created a new challenge. Click confirm. Things being created. Okay, now you see I have a new category, cyber trivia. You notice these categories are presented to me in alphabetical order, but I can move them around. If I want to put trivia at the end, I can just move it over there as the admin. So now when the student logs in, they're going to see things in the new order. So let's go into the challenge. So what does the A stand for in CIA triad? Now I can test this challenge. As the admin, I can test it. I can submit a flag if I want to as the admin. So if I can go in here as test, this is really cool because now I can test my challenge to make sure that when I put in what I think is the right answer, I think the right answer is availability. I can confirm that when I type that in, that actually works, right? If it gives me a green flag, then that's the correct answer. The problem with a string flag is this. What if the student puts in availability with a lowercase a? Well, this is the right answer. I think it's the right answer. But it's not going to match the flag. It's not going to match that string because it's case sensitive. You know, strings are case sensitive. All right, that's a problem. So what do I do now? Well, there's a couple things I can do. I can, this tells me how many attempts are left, right? That's kind of cool. So if I put in availability and I submit that as the flag, it's going to tell me, oh, the competition's ended. Whoops, did I set the dates on this wrong? I guess I couldn't even, I guess I had set the dates before and it's not letting me answer the flag. Anyway, this would have told me that was wrong because the A is not capitalized. It also would have taken me down to 2 attempts left. So what do I do about that A at the beginning not being capitalized? Well, there's a couple things I can do. One thing I can do is I can add a flag. I can add another flag that has both options, right? So if I do that and I do another test and I type in availability, okay, now that matches, you know, so if you have multiple flags for a challenge, the student, the player in the CTF only has to match one of them, obviously. So here I match there, but if they put in the capital A, they match the top one. Okay, now we're all good for this particular challenge. Sometimes the answers are more complicated. You want to be able to match more complex possible answers. And so the way you do that is using a regular expression. So I would, that's how we try to do most of our flags, is using a regular expression. And so here I can do this thing where I put in a regular expression. I'm not even going to talk about regular expressions. That's a whole nother lesson. You should do some Googling if you want to learn how to use them. But if you're a regex person, then you know how to do this. You can put in flags as regular expressions. And now that flag is not case sensitive. And so I can put in availability and it's going to match, or I can put in lowercase availability and it's going to match, right? So regular expressions are really powerful for matching complex flags. And so if you're not a regular expression person, you might look into it. I'm going to do one more thing to this challenge. I'm going to get rid of the flag-based challenges, and I'm going to do a multiple choice challenge. Multiple choice. So this is a relatively new challenge type in our CTF platform. And what I can do with multiple choice challenges is I can put in multiple choices, right? So if I don't want the student to have to type something in, I can have them select from a list. So I can put in mutuality, integrity, availability, none of the above. Okay, and then I have to select which one is the correct one. If I want to have multiple correct answers, I can do that too, but it requires that all correct answers are matched. So if I just want one correct answer, this is going to be true multiple choice. And if I created a multiple choice flag to start with, it would automatically default to one attempt for multiple choice challenge. Now I confirm this. And now when I click on the flag here, now I'm selecting whichever one I think is right. I can test these as well. So I can see that that's availability is the correct answer. And that's how you create a multiple choice challenge. And in doing that, I showed how to edit a challenge too, right? You can go in to any challenge, either one that was created in the CTF, one you pulled in for the library, or one you created yourself. You can go in, change any of these fields, name, description, points. You can add artifacts, right? If I have a link, like if I have a website, I want the student to go to, I can put in a link here and I can enter the URL for the website I want them to be able to go to. If I have a file I want them to download, I can put in the name and I can upload the file from my file system here in my downloads folder. So that's the artifacts button here. Of course, you've seen this screen, right? You can enable, disable, change category, change number of attempts. You can add or remove flags, and you can add notes or solutions. And that's how you edit a challenge. Last thing I'll talk about is the challenge library. And if I click on my admins panel here and I click on library, here's the library of challenges that I have access to. And again, I have some personal library entries, so I probably see more challenges than you would if you logged in here. But there's stuff in here, right? Quite a bit of stuff in the library. But the thing, one challenge that I know is not in this library is this new challenge that I just created, right? This one in the cyber trivia category called CIA. I want to add that to my own library. How do I do that? Well, when I click on the challenge, there's this little floppy disk looking thing. Someday we're gonna have to change that icon because people aren't gonna know what a floppy disk is anymore. But for now, it's a little floppy disk looking thing. And this saves the challenge to my personal library. So if I click that button, it asks me if I'm sure I want to do this, and I click confirm. So here's the benefit of saving a challenge in my personal library. If I create another CTF tomorrow, then I can import that challenge from my library. It shows up in my list, right? So I can go to my challenge library and I can look for cyber trivia challenges. And here it is. Here's that thing I just created. Now it's in my library. And so I can import that to any CTF I create in the future. So that's how you make your personal CTF challenges portable. And here's a clever trick. If you have a fellow instructor and you want to share challenges between the two of you, what you do is you create a CTF and then you give them access to your CTF as an admin. And now they can import challenges from their library into your CTF, or they can save challenges from the CTF into their personal library. So that's an opportunity for two teachers to swap challenges between them. If they're both admins in the same CTF, then each one of them can pull in challenges using their own library, and either one of them can save any challenge in that CTF to their own library. So it's a pretty cool trick. We encourage people to do that if you want to swap, like within your school, for example. Okay, so that is everything on my list for challenge management in the Cloud CTF platform. And the last thing I'm going to show is Cloud CTF resources. There's the knowledge base I pointed to last week, right? So there's kb.virginiacyberrange.org, kb.us. Well, this one should be uscyberrange.org. I don't know why I put Virginia Cyberrange in there twice. Wasn't very smart. And then if you just search in the KB for challenge management, you're going to find a whole bunch of content. So if I go here and say kb.uscyberrange.org, I can search on challenge management. And you see on the left side here, all the things I just talked about: adding and removing challenges, creating challenges from scratch, editing challenges, saving them to my library, et cetera, et cetera. That's all on this list. All right, so that's it for this week.